How dare anyone bring a child into this world only to neglect, abuse, or discard the very life they created? These monsters play God and gamble with innocence until that child, broken and unseen, slips away from a world that failed them. Join me. I'm Detective Obscura, and I'll guide you through the darkest depths of human cruelty, the tragic fate of Gabriel Fernandez, an 8-year-old boy whose life was stolen by the very people meant to love and protect him. What compels a mother to betray her own child? Let's uncover the truth. Palmdale, California, May 2013. Gabriel Fernandez was systematically tortured and abused by his mother, Pearl Fernandez, and her boyfriend, Isauro Aguirre. For 8 relentless months, Gabriel Fernandez endured beatings, burns, starvation, and psychological torment. Then, on May 22, 2013, the abuse reached its peak. That night, he was beaten so severely that he was left brain dead. When paramedics arrived, they found Gabriel unresponsive, his small body a silent witness to unimaginable cruelty. What the autopsy later revealed was more than just evidence. It was a portrait of sustained, merciless torture. Gabriel's life began like any other, a child full of promise, but beneath the surface darkness crept in, leading to a fate no one should ever endure. Gabriel Fernandez was born in 2005 to Pearl Fernandez and Arnold Contreras. Shortly after his birth, his mother showed little interest in raising him,
Pearl never showed any type of love towards you,
leading to his placement in the care of his great-uncle, Michael Carranza, and Carranza's partner, David Martinez. In their home, Gabriel experienced stability and care, something neither of his biological parents provided. However, due to homophobic prejudice within the family, Gabriel was forcibly removed from their custody and placed with his grandparents. This decision set off a chain of events that would ultimately seal his fate. In 2012, Pearl Fernandez regained custody of Gabriel under false pretenses, claiming she wanted to build a family while, in reality, seeking welfare benefits for her children. Despite multiple reports of abuse from teachers, family members, and even concerned neighbors, authorities failed to intervene. Social workers overlooked clear warning signs, dismissing allegations or failing to follow up properly. Caseworkers falsified reports, minimized injuries, and ignored Gabriel's desperate cries for help. This systemic failure allowed the abuse to escalate unchecked, marking the beginning of Gabriel's nightmare. The methods of abuse were horrifying. Aguirre shot Gabriel in the face, chest, legs, and groin with a BB gun, leaving pellets embedded in his body. He pepper-sprayed Gabriel directly in the face, burned him with cigarettes, and struck him repeatedly with objects like a baseball bat, belt buckle, and metal hanger. The physical assaults were so severe that Gabriel's head once left an indentation on the wall after Aguirre struck him. These beatings were not isolated incidents, but part of a daily barrage of violence. Aguirre would pick Gabriel up by the neck until he passed out and then drop him to the ground. The psychological abuse was equally harrowing. Gabriel was locked inside a small cabinet, referred to as the box, bound and gagged with handcuffs for hours at a time without food or water.
They would wrap a bandana around his mouth. Sometimes they would put a sock in his mouth.
He was forced to sleep in this cramped space and even use it as his bathroom. Aguirre and Pearl made him wear girls' clothing, including pink leggings and shirts, humiliating him further. They laughed during the abuse, treating it as entertainment rather than punishment. Gabriel's siblings provided heartbreaking testimony about their brother's suffering. His older brother Ezekiel recounted how Pearl and Aguirre forced Gabriel to eat spoiled food, vomit, cat litter, and feces. When he vomited from the spoiled food, they made him eat it again off the table.
My mom and her boyfriend made Gabriel eat spoiled stuff or expired stuff. One thing I remember is expired spinach. He threw it up and they made him eat it off the table.
His sister Virginia described witnessing her mother punch Gabriel so hard that his front teeth were knocked out. On one occasion, she saw Aguirre knock the air out of Gabriel during a beating. When he collapsed unconscious, they threw him into the shower and screamed at him to wake up. The final assault occurred on May 22, 2013. Gabriel failed to tidy his toys, a trivial act that unleashed Aguirre's fury. Pearl fabricated comments that Gabriel supposedly made about her boyfriend to provoke him further. Aguirre punched Gabriel repeatedly, while Pearl joined in by striking him with objects. When Gabriel fell unconscious from the beating, they attempted to revive him by throwing him into a cold shower. Realizing he wasn't waking up, Pearl finally called 911, but not before instructing her daughter to clean up the blood on the floor. Paramedics arrived to find Gabriel naked and unresponsive. His injuries told a grim story. Broken ribs at various stages of healing suggested prolonged abuse. BB gun pellets were lodged in his lungs. His skull was fractured. His body bore bruises, burns, and scars from months of torture. Despite efforts to save him, Gabriel was declared brain dead at Antelope Valley Hospital. He died 2 days later at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. Pearl Fernandez pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, with special circumstances of torture, to avoid the death penalty. She is serving life without parole. Aguirre was sentenced to death but remains on death row due to California's moratorium on capital punishment. Charges against the social workers involved in Gabriel's case were dropped, despite their negligence. Pearl Fernandez's actions were rooted in deep psychological scars. During her trial, she was diagnosed with a range of disorders, including depressive disorder, developmental disabilities, possible PTSD, and personality disorders. Her intellectual capacity was limited, functioning at approximately a second-grade level in verbal comprehension. Pearl's history reveals a childhood marked by profound trauma, physical abuse at the hands of her mother, substance abuse beginning at the age of 9, attempted essay by her uncle, and persistent self-exit thoughts. Gabriel's stepfather, Aguirre, displayed unchecked rage driven by deep-seated prejudice. His inability to handle stress or chaotic situations led him down a path of escalating violence. This pattern, common in individuals with poor emotional regulation, culminated in a brutal and unforgivable tragedy. But do childhood and psychological problems excuse the brutal abuse that Gabriel suffered at the hands of the very people he believed loved him? This public's outrage was matched by the disdain that Pearl Fernandez and Isauro Aguirre faced upon entering prison. Both were met with hostility from fellow inmates, a reaction often reserved for those convicted of crimes against children. Inmates reportedly despised Pearl for her role in Gabriel's torture and murder, with some expressing their anger through threats and verbal abuse. This animosity became so intense that Pearl petitioned to be moved, citing concerns for her safety due to the treatment she received from other inmates. Her request was ultimately denied, leaving her to serve her life sentence under constant scrutiny and hostility. Gabriel Fernandez's story is a haunting reminder of how fragile a child's life can be when failed by both individuals and systems. It raises painful questions about accountability and whether timely intervention could have saved him. What do you think? Stay curious about the mysteries around us, but stay safe. Join me next time as we delve into another case that challenges our understanding of justice and humanity. Stay curious, stay safe.